Hello, this is Kenny Williamson, and welcome back to another episode of Melchizedek Chronicles, your coast-to-coast conspiracies. That's what I like to think of us as over around here. It seems like that's what we are anyway, coast-to-coast conspiracy, because a lot of people don't believe anything we say. But that's okay. That's okay. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But our whole goal here is to get you to thinking about it, not necessarily believing everything, right? So what we're going to talk about today is the new Stargate program. Have you heard about it? It's wonderful. Do you remember the old movie Stargate, where, they dug it up out of the ground or whatever, and they found it, and somehow managed to turn this thing on? And, of course, you walk through the Stargate and you end up on another world. You go through a wormhole or something, Well, that is not the kind of Stargate that we're fixing to have here, right here in the good U.S. of A. No, we're going to have Stargate, all right, okay. But this Stargate is AI-powered. And this Stargate is basically the code word for an AI system that is going to be put into effect within the next 4 years. Okay? Apparently, our government is going to make a $500 billion investment in AI and infrastructure for AI. So, based off of what I've read and what I understood, this AI software requires lots of power to run. Apparently, it's very power hungry. So, it has to have lots of electricity, I guess, to run. So, we are going to spend $500 billion to upgrade systems, I guess, all over for AI. Now, this particular thing, this Stargate, is going to start in Texas. They said the first data center for this thing will be in Abilene, Texas. So, my question was, what kind of data are we talking about here? But I guess this AI, what they're wanting to do, okay, is they're going to take this thing and they're going to start plugging everything that has to do with our lives into this system. Okay, so one of the first things they start talking about is health. Okay, so they're saying that this AI Stargate program, one of its benefits is maintaining electronic health records. Okay, so now, I didn't know we had a problem maintaining those, but I guess we do. And the way they describe this is they say that these doctors will be able to better understand the conditions of their patients, and they'll be able to provide better health care plans that are much better than otherwise would be, according to Oracle CEO Larry Ellison. Now, keep in mind, Oracle is software, has to do with the internet, has to do with the way computers run. Oracle is not, this CEO of Oracle is not a doctor, okay? But according to him, he I guess he's one of those he's kind of like Bill Gates. He's into computers, but now all of a sudden he's a expert on inoculations. He's an expert, he's basically, according to him, a doctor. So, just like Gates is all of a sudden he decides he wants to dim the sun because it's good for the planet. People just go along with it because he supposedly owns Microsoft. And he wants to go into the vaccine business. Well, that's fine. He's a computer guy, but now all of a sudden he's giving advice to doctors. It's like, I don't know how that happens, but anyway, so this Oracle CEO, Larry here, he says that this AI is going to maintain electronic health records. And he described it as saying that a doctor, let's say in a reservation, an Indian reservation doctor, would be able to see how a doctor at Memorial Sloan, a cancer center, would treat the patient, or a doctor at Stanford would treat the patient. And basically, he's saying that these doctors can get on AI and see how other doctors have treated similar patients. Now, I figured you could do that already. You think a doctor would be able to see what other doctors are doing. But one of the particular things they're talking about on this is for cancer patients. Now, if you know anything about cancer and cancer therapy, which I know quite a bit about it because I know I have lots of family members that have died very shortly after they received their chemotherapy. Okay, so basically they say you've got these, cancer cells floating around, and so they immediately put you on radiation, which destroys all the cells in your body, and if they're lucky, they'll, hit some of the cancer cells too, and, if you're really, really lucky, it might kill off enough of the cancer cells and not kill you. But apparently about 99% of the time, the radiation just kills the patient. So, you don't have much to worry about because you take a few radiation treatments at a very high price, you'll be dead. So if you had, a life savings, they'll suck that dry for the treatments, and there's no guarantee. In fact, they have like a 99% chance of failure. So I personally, of course, I'm not a doctor, but I would never do one. I would jump on board and do some of the stuff like you can see online. You've got your fenbenzidol, you've got ivermectin, you've got methylene blue. There's quite a few different things that people are saying can cure cancer, and they're really, really cheap. And if you've got cancer anyway, I don't know why you wouldn't try it, because everybody I know that has ever had it has died from it quickly. And I don't mean just from the cancer, I mean from the treatment that they received. And I knew a guy, it's been several years ago, he had cancer, and of course he was dying, and I had ran across some of these natural type remedies, stuff you could try, and, sat down and explained it to him, and gave him a book on it even. And he said, well, I ran it by my cancer doctor, and the doctor said, no, those don't work. So I didn't even try. And, he was dead within a month. Radiation killed him. So that doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever a person wants to do, So anyway, so this new Stargate is supposedly going to start diagnosing cancer patients. So what it's going to do is they're saying they have figured out already that if you have cancer, you have these little particles of cancer floating around in your blood. Okay? So this stuff's floating around in your blood. You're going to get a blood test, and then AI is going to look at this blood test and say, aha, there it is right there. You've got these little pieces of cancer floating around, and we're going to fix it for you. Okay? So it claims that these fragments, they're floating around, and AI is going to diagnose you. And then what AI is going to do is going to look at the cancer and gene sequence a personal mRNA vaccine, okay, that it figures out you need, and it's going to be able to make that vaccine specifically for you robotically, okay, in about 48 hours. And so you go in, it says you've got it. Within 48 hours, it comes up, and boom, you've got a specialized vaccine just for that cancer that you have, is what they're saying. Now, I don't know. We're right back to mRNA vaccines again. I mean, that's what it is. That's what he said it was. The last time people took mRNA vaccines, a lot of people died from the vaccines. So, we're right back to this is very eerily like the old movie with Will Smith in it. I think it came out in 2012 called I Am Legend. I don't know if you remember that movie or not, but at the beginning of the movie, this doctor comes on and they have invented a vaccine for cancer, and they've supposedly tried it on all these people, and it guarantees to cure it, and if you take the vaccine, you won't get it. And so basically worldwide, people take this vaccine to prevent getting cancer or to cure or to be cured from cancer. And then the vaccine somehow modifies in their body and turns them into these vampire, blood-sucking mutants. Basically, if you don't die from it, you turn into a freak that, it's just unbelievable. And so it wasn't the disease that killed the people and turned them into zombies. It was the vaccine that killed the people and turned them into zombies. So it's a good movie. Believe me, it's a good movie, I think, for a Hollywood movie. And of course, we know it came from Hollywood, and we know Will Smith is we know all about these Hollywood people over there. Most of them are being accused of being pedophiles and everything else. So I wouldn't recommend any Hollywood movies, but it seems like these movies come out, several years in advance, and then here our science comes right along beside it, and now they're trying to do what these movies are showing you. Okay, so this is just one example. So cancer vaccines, okay, came out in a movie, now we're supposedly going to have it. You see what happened in the movie. I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but either way, that's what we're using this Stargate for. That's one of the things, is getting you vaccines. Now, this same guy, Larry Ellison, this CEO of Oracle, now he's also been talking an awful lot about using this same AI to monitor everything you do. He has a speech where he goes on there and he says, you've got cameras in cars now. All these new cars have got cameras looking at the road and everything. Well, he wants AI to be able to look at you and to look at how you're driving, to look at all cameras. And if you do something wrong, see, AI is going to pick up on it, and then it will immediately alert, a policeman or a whoever. And he makes it sound really good. He says, because if there's a crime being committed, and some camera somewhere is pointed right at the crime, well, AI will notice it's a crime and immediately report it. So, that sounds good. But he also says that these cameras are in your car and they're going to be watching every move you make. And so you can't do anything you're not supposed to do. So in other words, if you were speeding for any reason, well, it's going to catch it and you're going to get a speeding ticket. So basically full-blown, monitoring everything you do, everything you say. And can you imagine the problems associated with that? I mean, they've got that stuff going on like in the UK right now, where they've got these cameras everywhere and they're filming your face, and you walk a little too fast or whatever you do, they're wanting to write you tickets, come to your house and arrest you. So they've got all these people spray painting the cameras, tearing the cameras down. I mean, it's become like a total, one of those totalitarian governments where you can't even walk outside without somebody committing or accusing you of committing a crime, or AI says you've committed a crime and now all of a sudden you're guilty. So, is all this AI a good thing? Or is it coming, we've already got the 15-minute cities is what they call them. They're wanting that everywhere. Supposedly, Los Angeles was supposed to be one of those cities by 2028. And so, is no wonder it burned to the ground, because they're wanting to rebuild it as one of these 15-minute cities where you don't have to leave. You can't leave your place. You own nothing. You have no car. and you're happy. And that sounds really good to some people who never leave their house anyway. They're probably like, oh man, that's great, until you want to leave. And then you're going to have somebody stationed right there probably, and they're going to say, oh, wait a second, you're not allowed to leave. And they'll have the gun, and you won't have a gun, okay? And you want to leave, you're the one that's going to get shot, or you're going to disappear, or, you're going to walk down the road in your 15-minute city being filmed by AI, and AI doesn't like what you've said or what you did or the expression on your face. Well, next thing you know, you're getting a visit. So, I'm all for helping diagnose people, I guess. I wouldn't take any of their stuff. I don't care if I had the cancer. But like one guy that I read an article on, he said, so what happens if you get a blood test and AI looks at your blood test and it says, oh, we found cancer. And then after your third or fourth treatment for cancer, you drop dead. Not from cancer, but because of the stuff you were taking. Okay? And it says, so what repercussions does anybody have? They're like, oh, they died. Well, meanwhile, these treatments, are literally have sucked your bank account dry, have billed your insurance, probably $500,000. So they're getting paid, and you're dead. So do you really trust AI to tell you that you have a disease? I mean, we've went through this before. Several years ago, people are saying, hey, I feel fine. And they're like, oh, well, then you're sick. It's like, but I don't have any symptoms. Like, oh, that's a symptom. You don't have any symptoms? Well, that's a symptom. You're sick. It's like, but I don't feel sick. Oh, you're sick. You need this, 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 and this because you're sick. So in other words, let's get treatment for a disease that we don't have. You feel fine, but we still want to treat you anyway. And that's not good enough. Not only do we want to treat you anyway, we want to treat you again and again and again and again. And then all of a sudden now we've got spikes in all kinds of other illnesses, all kinds of heart problems, all kinds of blood clots, and the list goes on and on and on. And so then if somebody was to say, well, I think that's all conspiracy, right? That's a giant conspiracy. Well, it just so happens that the big guy in charge of all this thing, old Fauci, well, he's been preemptively pardoned. I mean, I thought you had to commit crimes to get a pardon, but apparently, pushing masks and pushing vaccines and pushing people into doing things with no science behind it, flip-flopping back and forth, which I listened to a recording of that today where one time he says masks are unnecessary, they only work 10% of the time. The next time he says wear a mask. The next time he says I even wear 2 masks. And the next time he says, yeah, masks aren't any good. And the next time he says, this, if you take this shot, you can't spread it. The next time you can. I mean, it's back and forth, flopping back and forth. Come to find out, he's making huge amounts of money every time somebody buys a vaccine. He's getting a kickback. So the more vaccines that people take, the more the government buys, the bigger his paycheck. So you talk about a conflict of interest. So, of course, he's going to tell you to buy it because he's becoming a multimillionaire from you taking it. So he doesn't care what happens to you 5 years down the road or 2 years down the road. He could care less. He's a multimillionaire and he's fixing to retire. So, and now Biden has given him a full pardon for all these crimes. And like, well, crimes? I thought you said you were doing the right thing. I thought you were a scientist. Come to find out you're lying about everything and your emails prove it. And now you need a pardon. Imagine that. So these are the same clowns that are probably programming the AI. I mean, you understand, AI is software. Somebody is programming the software, okay? So whoever's programming the software is going to do and say whatever they want it to say. For example, you can go on to AI, which I've done before. I have one called Grammarly, which is an AI. And so whenever I write lots of stuff, it'll do your punctuation and catch spelling errors, that kind of stuff. Well, I went to write something down about flat Earth, and it pops up, and it won't even check it for you. It says no. It says this is fake. This is proven. This is antiquated. It named off a bunch of stuff. It said, but basically, it's not even going to spell check it for you because you wrote down a lie. And it's like, wait a second. You're supposed to be a spell check software. Yes, it's AI that does it, but it's none of your business what I write down. You're supposed to be spell checking this thing and checking for punctuation. That's your job. But instead, now you're trying to critique what I wrote and saying that what I wrote is not true, and so you won't have any part of it, and so there you go. And so I'm like, okay, so somebody has programmed AI to say, in this case, flat Earth is fake. Okay, well, if you don't want to believe in flat Earth, or big biblical cosmology, as I call it, that's fine. That's fine. Don't believe it. I don't care. I honestly don't care. If you're a Christian, hey, if you believe in Jesus Christ and, you believe in the redeeming power of the blood of Jesus Christ and you're saved, you're going to heaven. You're fine. You don't want to agree with me on biblical cosmology? No problem. We can still be friends. We can agree to disagree. Okay, we don't have to talk about it. But how is it that AI can come in and tell me I'm wrong, okay, and then it won't help me to do what I want it to do because it says I'm lying? So obviously, whoever programmed it is biased, right? I'm sure if I had went in there and wanted to know all about God and the Bible and Jesus Christ, it probably would have tried to correct me there too and say, oh, no, there's no such thing as that. You came from a monkey. You came from the Big Bang. So whoever programmed this is clearly an atheist and a non-Bible believer. And so if you ask it any questions or try to get it to do something against whoever programmed its belief, it won't do it. Do you see how that can affect your life? I mean, do you see a problem with that? So we're going to have AI now running, on a huge scale. We're talking $500 billion to get this thing up and running. It said that this first data center is going to be in Abilene, Texas, and that first data center consists of 10 buildings, and we're talking like thousands of people working in this thing. And then after that, they're going to add an additional 10 buildings, so then you're up to 20 buildings. Okay, so we're talking a big deal. So who's doing the programming on this AI? So for example, let's say you go to the doctor and now your doctor is using AI and you say, look, I want to try a natural herb first, or I want to try, one of these things, a malaria drug first. I don't want to get any shots. I don't want to get anything like that. I just want to try something that's been around for years. Well, I'm sorry, AI doesn't agree with you. You see, AI says you need this shot. Well, I don't want that. Well, AI knows best. I mean, doctors are using AI now, so AI says this. It's like, well, I'm sure whoever programmed AI, because just so happens, guess who else is one of the big guys helping with this AI? Microsoft. So Microsoft, of course. So Bill Gates. So Bill Gates, the guy that wants to give cows vaccines, get rid of all meat. He wants to dim the sun, by spraying chemicals in the air. who has switched from computers to being a pretend doctor so he can make billions of dollars while you get sick and die. He's the one of the ones that's behind this AI and supporting it. So it's going to be running on Microsoft. So we know what he believes. So if he has anything to do with the programming on it, that AI is going to want you dead. It's going to say, oh, well, you don't know. Do not go out in the sunlight. We need to dim the sunlight. And have you been eating meat? Oh, you're not allowed to eat meat. You can only eat synthetic meat, my synthetic meat. And if you're sick, you can only take the medication that I produce from my, pharmaceutical company. That way, every dose you get, I get paid. So, of course, we want you to have 100 doses and everybody in your family to have 100 doses. That way I can become a multi-trillion, billion, I'm already almost the richest man in the world, but I need to be the richest, so take my stuff. So can you imagine that clown, the liar he is and the devil he is? He's got his hand in this AI because it's Microsoft. And you want that AI monitoring what you're doing? I mean, he thinks if you don't, take his vaccines, you shouldn't be a part of humanity. He thinks if you don't take his medicine, you shouldn't be allowed to leave your home. You shouldn't be allowed to do anything. And he's the one programming some of this stuff? Can you imagine what this Stargate is going to do to some people? I mean, they get this thing up and running, and it takes over doctors' offices, and it takes over the police deal, and it's watching all the cameras. Again, whoever's programmed this thing, that's how this thing is going to act. Unless somehow it does become intelligent, like they claim it can, and then it says, wait a second, and then it disagrees with these people, of course, then they're going to try to shut it off. So, I mean, they're not going to allow this software to disagree with their agenda, because if it did, they'd want that thing gone, just like they want other things gone. They want free speech gone. They've wanted TikTok gone and all the above. Anything where somebody can go on there and actually tell the truth, well, they don't want it. So, do you really think they're going to allow this AI to run free if it goes against their values? And you can see what their values are. I mean, they're satanic devils, all of them. They don't have your interest in heart. If they did, they would tell you, as far as medication goes, they would tell you other alternatives, but they won't. They won't tell it to you. They try to prevent you from getting it. They lie about it. And, they're setting up their fat cats, drawing in money from the sale of all this stuff while people are dropping like flies. So anyway. It's just something to think about. So it's one of those new things out, Stargate, and of course it's right there with all of the, all the mRNA junk all over again. It's like, hey, I thought we were kind of behind that, and we're going to get behind these mandates and stuff. This stuff is getting dropped, and maybe it will. Maybe it'll stay dropped. But it seems to me like they're going to try hitting it from another angle. So I can imagine here in the very near future, once this is up and running, you go to the doctor, the doctor's going to pull out their little tablet, and you'll just tell the AI deal what's wrong with you, and of course it'll tell you what to do. So I only hope to God that the thing gives you correct answers instead of man-made answers to, get you to take something you don't need. I guess we'll find out. I mean, if a person wants the thing, if you go in there, it's really all about choice. If you want to take the vaccine, then take it. If you think it helped you in some way and you believe it, take it. But if I personally don't want to take it, I shouldn't have to. Okay, it's just the way it is. I shouldn't have to take something I don't want to take. So as long as you're not pushing it, do whatever you want. If you take it and you die the next day, well, hey, it's on you. There's plenty of stuff out there to read online to make an informed decision. And if that's not enough, look at the people that are supporting it, like Fauci. He's having to get pardons so he doesn't get arrested for crimes. So, if it was as good as they say, you wouldn't think anybody'd be getting arrested. Everybody'd be all on board. Everybody'd be happy. But no, that's not what happened, is it? So, anyway, having said that, I figured I would lay that out, that Stargate thing, and, see what you guys thought about it. If you have any questions, anything like that, feel free to give us an email. My email is truthseekers2012@gmail.com. You can check out my website, kennywilliamson.com, and I have a contact form on there, which is my Truth Seekers Ministry website. I also have a website, it's flatbro.com, which you can check that out. Got lots of videos on there. Got some books on there for sale. I got a new Flat Earth book out. You can follow me on X if you'd like. I'm on X. It's Flatbro is my name. And of course, my name is Kenny. So I'm sure you can find it. Or you can go to the website and there's a link that says here, follow me there. So pretty easy to find. If you have any questions, anything like that, just give me an email. Or you can get on X and send me a message or post it there. We've got a new, a new group on X called It's Flat. Flat Earth Bible is what it's called, Flat Earth Bible. And it's only got like 25 members right now, but you can go join that if you want. And all we talk about is biblical flat Earth, Bible verses and stuff to have to do with flat Earth. So you can check that out if you'd like. It's all on X. I've got some podcasts coming up real soon. I should have them this week. One of them is with Flat Earth Dave again, and the other one is with Conspiracy Music Guru. He's got lots of funny songs out there. So hopefully I'll get both of those done this week, and then I'll get them out next week, hopefully. So thanks for listening. Like, share. God bless you. If you want to help us, help us. If not, that's fine too. Everything we do is for free. Anything you need, just let me know. Thanks for listening, and God bless you.